Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If Karmic Gacha system in Modern Family World. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 66, Curse of the Yellow Bird, Part 1. Abby POV. Honestly, it was a little strange hanging out with someone you had dated before. But for some reason, I kept finding myself wanting more of him in my life. After school was over, Haley, Tara and I went back together using my car. Enid hitched a ride with us as she was a tiny girl. We picked her up at school before I drove us to my house. Why not go straight there? Tara asked. I want to change my clothes, I said. The true reason was to remove my goth makeup and pretty myself up before meeting with Edward. I couldn't tell them that. That was too embarrassing for anyone to admit. I changed my clothes into wearing short jeans, a crop top see-through thread sweater with a black crop tank top underneath. The outfit I wore looked both baggy and sexy at the same time, which was picked on purpose today. I kind of wanted him to look, but also not too much. It was a stupid thought, I know. My stomach felt as if it was filled with butterflies as we stood in front of Edward's front porch. The dilapidated, messy and gloomy house had already changed after Edward started to take care of it a month ago. We could see some sunflowers growing healthily in front of his house, but they weren't blooming yet. Tara knocked on the door and Edward opened it up soon after. Welcome, the Totally Spies team, Edward greeted jokingly. He looked at Enid with a smile and said, Welcome Spy A. Enid was silent and nodded in acceptance as she thought his words were fair. But Ed didn't continue and turned to Tara before saying, Spy B. Tara was confused by Edward having turned to another girl before she could ask what he meant. Next, he looked at Haley before licking his lips and saying, Spicy, spicy. Lastly, he turned to me and said, Spy D. I quickly covered my chest as my eyes started to quiver. He looked at me with a mischievous grin, making me think that he knew. But how did he know? My cup size just got bigger last night. It's now in the D category. Haley POV. Spicy? He's calling me hot? Now of all times. In front of Abby. Is he crazy? I turned toward Abby with shaky eyes, only to find out she was ashen white and was hugging herself. My knees felt weak, and I knew I should say something to defuse this situation. Ed. Seriously? Even if we dash. Before I could finish speaking, Abby suddenly interrupted me, You perv. Did you put a spy cam in my house? How did you know? Know what? Edward asked innocently, but his eyes were full of mischief. I was stunned, and became horrified a second later as I realized I almost shouted we had kissed in front of everyone even though he was only trying to prank me and Abby at the same time. Ed. Abby yelled again and wanted to put him into an arm lock straight away. But he was already taller than her now and could avoid her attack smoothly by pulling Enid in front of him. Sorry about this. Consider it payback for spying on me. Enid was baffled by how quickly the situation deteriorated from the moment Edward opened the door. To be honest, I was confused too. The joke quickly broke all of the awkwardness we have with each other and brushed away the certain difficult topic that was preventing us from truly enjoying each other's company. I was grateful for him as he took the responsibility for himself, but I was feeling a bit sad too as he might have thought about the matter for a long time and stressed himself out alone. Just like when he thought about us dating each other wouldn't work out before this. This kind of life feels a bit lonely, doesn't it? Edward POV. Not knowing the misunderstanding in which I lit the fuse on inside Haley's and Abby's mind, I pulled Enid left and right to be my barrier against Abby. Finally, the ex-goth girl calmed down a bit and started to think clearly. Did my mom tell you? How do you know? Abby asked suspiciously. By now, she really thought that I had installed a camera in her house somewhere to spy on her. You don't remember telling me? I asked with a grin. No. I never told you. I only told Haley. Abby said anxiously. Haley tilted her head in puzzlement and asked, "Tell me what?" What? Abby was baffled when she saw that Haley didn't remember it. I just told you last night? You never texted me last night? Haley asked in confusion. Abby darted her eyes between Haley and me before muttering, "Oh no." "Oh yes." I smirked mischievously as I took out my phone and shook it in front of Abby. Her face turned ashen and she tried to snatch my phone away, but I used my Enid defense once more. "How long should I suffer?" Enid muttered with a deadpan expression. "As long as necessary." I replied to her even though she didn't expect an answer. Her eyes flashed a glint of excitement before it dimmed out again as she remembered she was only an extra in this party as she was not a part of the group. "Come on in." I finally welcomed them into the house after teasing them for a while. Haley and I stole a glance at each other as she walked in. I thought it was pretty funny that she was wearing modest clothes today. She gazed at my neck and became embarrassed when she saw the spot where she put the hickey there last night. By this time, Abraham and Jacob had only reached 7 and 6 points in the game respectively and had become increasingly frustrated by it. "What? Only 7 points the highest? Are you guys noobs?" Tara joked as she saw the scoreboard on the TV. The boys gritted their teeth but they didn't respond as they started the next game almost immediately to reach for a better score. "Give me your phones," I said to the girls before installing the game into their phones. Abby took her phone back after I had put the game in it with a dissatisfied expression as she was hiding her embarrassment. "Stop leering at her," Haley said as she took her phone from me. She thought I was staring at Abby's chest after I knew about her increased cup size. I shrugged and gave Tara back her phone as Haley sat on the two-seat couch with Abby. "Hey. I'm really sorry," Tara said as she reached for her phone from my hand. "It's okay. I don't mind," I replied calmly as I turned to Enid. "I'm sorry too, for spying on you before," Enid said as she thought I wanted an apology from her. Titling my head in confusion, I gazed at her face weirdly before saying, "I don't care about that though. If anything, your sis is at fault here." "What?" Tara exclaimed in bewilderment as she was accused. I laughed at her reaction before giving Enid back her phone. "There's no more seats left. Wait, I will go grab a chair from the kitchen." There was only a seat for 6 people in the living room as I only had a 6-seat couch. The single couch was used by me, the 2-seat couch was used by Abby and Haley, while Jacob, Abraham and Tara used the 3-seat couch. "Hey. Ed. It's okay, she can just squeeze in here," Abby said as she called Enid to their seat. "Yeah. We're only small people," Haley added. "Small? Sure," I said with a tone of disbelief as I looked at Abby. She became irritated and warned me, "Shut up, or I'll poke your eyes." Ding dong asterisk ding dong ding dong. The next guest is impatient, huh? I muttered as I walked hurriedly to the front door before my doorbell broke. Manny, Luke, Gloria, and Alex had come by to play the game. Alex was sullen while the rest were so excited to be there. Gloria had come by as she felt the need for a chaperone there, and her feeling turned out to be true as there wasn't any adult inside the house. But she didn't plan to bother us while playing the game and waited in the kitchen instead, maybe while cooking something for the children. Luke and Manny didn't have a smartphone, so I let them use my laptop to play the game instead. They sat on the floor while playing the game in the living room. "Where's your parents?" I asked Alex as I pulled her to sit next to me, sharing the single-seat couch together. She wasn't playing the game, but I appointed her my assistant to collect data instead as she has no interest in playing the mobile games. "Home," Alex replied curtly as she held a pen and paper in her hands. She filled in the observation sheet I gave to her. Abby and Haley gave her side eyes as she was sharing the seat with me, but Alex and I didn't notice what they were doing. The scoreboard changed quickly, and the top score was unexpectedly taken by Haley. She managed to adapt to the game in just a few tries. I guess that's expected as she basically lives with her phone being a part of her. I thought as I smiled at Haley. My smile actually made her break her concentration and the yellow bird on her screen fell straight to the ground. Abby chuckled at her before her bird fell too, ending her game at the 4th point score. Hey! What is the purpose of us flying the bird? Manny asked suddenly. The laptop gamers had quickly broken double digit as it was easier for them to play using the keyboard. I guess it's to get higher marks than your friends. Luke replied as he broke Manny's record and then jeered at him, so you can rub it in their face. Boom! Ugh! My turn! Manny said as they changed users before starting a new round of the game. Alex was intrigued by the question, so she continued to ask even though the boys had lost interest. So, is that really it? Just for the score? I guess so. I made a few versions, and I wanted to see if this, I pointed to the original Flappy Bird version without any programmed additional features, is good enough. Oh. What other versions? Abby heard our conversation and interjected into it as she was feeling too frustrated by the game. As it is a bird, I changed the background to a forest. You need to fly through the trees, you can get power-ups from fruits hanging from the trees, and you need to avoid an eagle, and the purpose is to get to the south before winter comes. At every 100 points mark, you can unlock new skins and new power-ups for the bird. Skins? Jacob asked in confusion. New designs. I said casually before turning to Alex. Both of them had played the game for a while. Go ask them the questionnaire. Alex thought for a while before asking in a whisper, before that. I want to ask you something. Why do you text me to wear classy clothes? Are you trying to control the way I look now? Or is the way I dress not enough anymore to become your friend? She had been thinking about the question for an entire day after she got the text message. If answered incorrectly, Alex may stop wanting to become friends with me anymore, but I didn't realize that and answered honestly instead. Oh, that. I made a few glasses frame designs from paper, and I wanted you to try it out after this. I also need to take a picture of it to submit it to the manufacturer after this, so I asked you to wear nice clothes. Are you mad at me for that? If so, I Apollo dash. Wait. No, don't apologize. I'm sorry for suspecting you. Alex said with an embarrassed blush on her face as she had forgotten about what I promised before. Also, it will be expensive, right? I'm okay with just the designs. You don't have to send it to the manufacturer. She added. Not at all. I'm using Pepper's connection to produce my own product lines, so it'll be good for me. The bad part is, I still haven't figured out a way to make the lens thinner. I explained. Abraham suddenly interjected into the conversation as a fellow glasses wearer. The reason glasses lens was cut into rectangular shapes right now as it was the thinnest part of the lens. If you make the frame design bigger, then the edge of the lens will be too thick. It won't look good. Yeah. If you use 1.5 index 1. But if you use higher than 1.7, then the lens will be thin. I said casually. There isn't one higher than 1.67 though. I checked it at the optometrist before this. Alex said in confusion. Yeah. There isn't now. But soon there will be. I replied with a smile. I found the information when I checked into the ongoing research in the scientific community. A Caltech team of scientists needed a lens with a higher refractive index, therefore they were experimenting with different materials to create a lens made from plastic and polycarbonate. If I launched the frame designs at the moment the new lens manufacturing became widespread, I could monopolize the eyewear fashion industry for a few months before another giant company entered the game. Alex blushed hard as she saw my confident look while I was thinking about the eyewear industry. At my time, the lens index of refraction had reached more than 1.9, so a giant lens in giant frames was possible at that time. That's why the trends moved toward big glasses in my previous world. But now I had to make do with only index 1.7. He will do the questionnaire now. Alex said as she skedaddled quickly toward where Abraham was sitting to ask him a few questions. But then, something happened in the living room that made almost everyone stop what they were doing. Arg! Jacob suddenly shouted as he died in the game again, stood up abruptly, and almost threw his phone down on the floor. Jacob, don't! Calm the F down, I said while simultaneously censoring myself as there were kids in the house. Jacob finally realized what he almost did and breathed in relief as I had stepped in and stopped him from destroying his phone. Everyone, if you're frustrated, take a break. Remember, it's just a game, I announced to the group as I led Jacob to the kitchen for a drink to calm himself down. Third-person POV. Running quickly to the living room with loud high heel sounds, Gloria asked hurriedly, why? What happened? What happened? Ding dong asterisk. Suddenly, the doorbell rang as the next guest had arrived. As I was in the kitchen, Alex helped me open the door instead. Gloria turned to Haley and the teen girl replied hesitatingly, nothing happened, Gloria. The game is just too hard. That's it. Oh. Good. I thought something happened. Gloria breathed a sigh of relief before turning to the kitchen. Hey Mom. Want to play it? Manny asked before Gloria could walk away. Alex welcomed the two girls, Jenna and Elsa, into the house. Jenna was wearing a long black skirt and white blouse that made her look like a young Mrs. Henderson while Elsa wore her tube top and jacket as usual. You guys are late, Alex said. Jenna couldn't find her bra, Elsa said before her mouth was cupped by Jenna. Sorry. Are you guys still playing? Jenna said as she stopped Elsa from exposing her secrets. Yeah. Come on in, Alex said and led the girls to the living room. Hey. Where's his room? Jenna suddenly pulled Alex to the side and asked. What? What are you thinking of doing? He won't let you, Alex said in suspicion, but stopped her words halfway as she remembered how easy it was for her and her sister to get permission to enter there. He will, probably. Anyway, it's upstairs on the right. But ask him first before going there. I know. Jenna said dismissively as the duo walked past Abby and Haley. Edward returned to the living room while dragging two chairs in his hand before Jacob followed him from behind while carrying chairs too. Edward POV. Hey Jenna, wait. Gloria, are you playing? I said as my attention quickly turned from the girls to the hot Latin woman kneeling on the floor. Her sexy backside was covered by the standing Manny, otherwise the teen boys inside the living room wouldn't be able to focus on their game, not that Manny was doing it on purpose. See? The game is very difficult, Gloria said in frustration. Mom! Down. You're going to fall, Manny said hurriedly as he badgered his mother from behind. Manny, don't disturb ahhh. Maldito pajaro ya vas a ver. Te agarra y te tiro a la cacerola maldito. Damned bird. You'll see. When I get you I will throw you right into a pot, you cursed son of a, very happy face, Gloria cursed as she lost the game. PFFF- I couldn't hold back my laugh as I heard what Gloria was saying. She turned to me and wondered why I was laughing, but then she remembered Gloria's commentary. He knows Spanish, and I cursed in front of him. So embarrassing. Commentary ends. I'll make some drinks, Gloria said before running away from the living room. Alex. Ask Gloria the questionnaire too after this, I ordered as I returned to my seat on the single-seat couch and was reading the data on my laptop. Abby decided to stop playing the game and started playing around as Jenna's existence here made her feel threatened. Hey. Ed. Are you launching the game? She said as she stood near me. Yeah. Tomorrow I'll put it on Google Play and Apple Store, I replied casually. Suddenly, Abby sat in my lap as the seat was too narrow for the both of us. Alex, Jenna, and Haley widened their eyes as they saw Abby's brazenness. What are you doing? I said as I patted Abby's butt unconsciously. She perched her ass directly on my hips and was squirming in a dangerous way as she looked at the data on my laptop. I knew that she was doing this on purpose, but I didn't know why. Wait. Quasi Cupcakes. Candy Crush. Angry Birds. How many games did you have planned? Abby asked in bewilderment as she saw my folders. What? He has more games? Haley said while approaching me. The lead high score was cemented by Haley as she had reached more than 100 points with her immaculate tapping skills, and she decided to play around like Abby too. She sat next to Abby, still on my lap, as they both sneaked a peek on my laptop. I was so baffled that I didn't know how to respond to the situation. Chapter 67, Curse of the Yellow Bird, Part 2. Third-person POV. Dunphy's family. Come on, Claire. I want to go over there. Phil said whiningly as he urged his wife, who was reading a book while sitting on the dining table. See here. He wrote this while he was 10. Claire said while showing the book to Phil. She muttered flatly, always had a fear of being typical. Looking at my body, feeling miserable. Always hanging on to the visual. I wanna be invisible. I mean, what kind of life had he lived to actually write something like this when he was 10? Don't pretend to care. You're only searching to see if he's done bad stuff. Now, don't invade his privacy any longer. What's done is done. We're giving Ted his family stuff back. Phil said after he snatched the book away from Claire. The only reason he didn't stop her sooner was because he didn't know what she was reading about. But now that he knew they were wasting time because Claire wanted to know Edward more, they could go over to his house to play the new game now. But Phil. If he's becoming family, then I need to know more about him. Give me - Claire tried to take the book back, but Phil kept it away from her quickly. No, Claire. Imagine if he knew. Then, he won't talk to us again. Is that what you want? Phil said while trying to convince Claire. Fine. I'll stop. Claire said in frustration before walking away to change her clothes. She stopped midway, turned to Phil and said, but you've got to admit. Some stuff in there is worrying. If it were me, I'd put him in therapy immediately. I'm sure, he's just expressing his creativity through writing. It's fine, Claire. If you're that worried, I'll talk to Ted about this. You don't talk to anyone about anything. Have you talked to Ed yet about why he spoke Japanese when he was asleep? Claire said mockingly. I will, soon. Phil replied defensively and said, go change now. We're really late. Claire suddenly realized something. Wait, Phil. Did Ted say he's going to be home? I don't think so. Also, he's your boss. You are supposed to know. Phil said in confusion. Claire checked her laptop, which was open on the kitchen counter quickly, and her face turned spooked. Phil. He's at work. So? That means, there's no adults there. The kids are partying, without anyone to supervise. God. They are going to make love. Claire said, then ran to her bedroom to change her clothes quickly. No, they won't. Phil shouted to Claire to reassure her while keeping complete confidence in Edward. Edward POV. To be honest, I have no idea what to do now. I've had girls on my lap before, but normally only one at a time. I should be able to enjoy these feelings of something new, but why the hell did it make me anxious instead? This is a card game? Are people going to be playing card games on their phones? Abby said while gently pressing her firm buttocks on my hips. As the two girls continued moving, the flag was raised at half-mast, and I didn't know how long I had until it reached full mast. I'm sure he'll do great. Let me see the quasi-cupcake plans again. Haley said while pushing Abby's buttock away with her ass and perching hers on my hips too. Then, she took it a step further and started grinding slightly. My half-mast was now surrounded by each of their cheeks and was raised slowly, and it's entering the danger zone. Luckily I was wearing jeans, so it was a bit restricted at the moment, but it was still pushing against the girls, which made them even more excited. Guys. If you don't get off of him, I'll spray you with a hose. Tara said with a deadpan expression as she watched her two best friends compete with each other and completely victimize me in the process. Yeah, Haley. Go sit with Tara. There's a spot open near Abby turned to look at the 3-seat couch, only to find that Tara had changed seats to sit with her little sister at the 2-seat couch, and Jenna had sat on the empty seat there. But something even more eye-catching at the 3-seat couch was that Elsa was sitting on Jacob's lap and in between his arms and was playfully kissing his neck as he was playing the game. That's so brazen. Abby mumbled under her breath before glancing sneakily at my face. Haley did so too, and she started leaning back into my embrace. No. I replied curtly before the doorbell rang and pinched both of their asses, causing them to let out a cute yelp at the same time. Claire knocked on the door anxiously from outside saying, "Hello, Ed. We're here." Oh my God. Haley was flabbergasted and pulled Abby with her as she dove to the floor the instant Claire was opening the unlocked door. Claire and Phil walked in, and Gloria walked to the living room from the kitchen to greet them, as she was excited to see another adult there. While the trio was talking, Haley and Abby sneaked away, crawling on the ground to get to the 2-seat couch directly in front of Edward's seating spot. TSK, TSK, TSK. Tara clicked her tongue at her friend as she watched them in their miserable state. Shut up. Abby and Haley said the same thing to Tara. She shrugged and continued playing the game while talking with her sister. Is this a normal occurrence for you? Enid asked her sister in a whisper. Kinda. Both of them are pretty weird. Tara replied casually. You. Get off him. Claire said while snapping her finger as she pointed at Elsa. Although dissatisfied, Elsa reluctantly slid down to the floor, leaning her back on Jacob's legs as she didn't want the adult there to report it to her mother. Hi, Claire. Phil, you're looking dapper. I greeted both of them without standing up as my body needed time to calm down from the attack before. I mean, I always look handsome. Claire could back me up. Phil said jokingly, which was met with an awkward smile by Claire. Claire. They aren't doing anything. They are just playing games. Don't bother them. Gloria said as she tried to pull the adults away. Dad, do you want to play? Luke called Phil from his spot. The two kids were completely oblivious to what was happening behind them as they were focusing on the game before. Ed, whose laptop is this? Phil said as he pointed at the laptop Luke and Manny were playing with. That's my dad. Oh yeah. You're still using the laptop we bought before? How is it? I was a bit confused when Phil was searching for reaffirmation from me, so I replied, yeah. It's a great laptop. You have special skills in picking it, Phil. Phil celebrated happily with a turn and a fist pump. Eat it, Claire. Eat what? Claire said in confusion. You always thought I picked useless things. Ed could tell you that I didn't. Is this about the new thermostat again? Claire rolled her eyes before the couple started to bicker with each other. Suddenly, the doorbell rang again. Wait. I looked around to see that all of the people I'd invited had already arrived, so I was confused as to who was in front of the door. Did any of you invite anyone else? I asked the question to the group. No/knew/who has other friends/who did it/who was at the door. Murmurs were coming from everyone, but no one actually got up to open the door. Claire was in disbelief and shook her shoulders before saying, fine. I'll do it. She opened the door only to find a police officer in front of the house. What's going on, officer? Claire asked with a hint of nervousness. Oh. Hey, buddy. I called out from my seat. Ed. Don't call me a cup buddy. They hated that. Be cool. Abraham said hurriedly as if he were guilty of something. No. That's my dad's friend. Buddy. I said while walking to the door. Who wants some tea? Gloria suddenly walked outside the kitchen with a few glasses of iced lemon tea I had prepared. I'll have one. Thank you. Jenna said to Gloria as she picked one glass from the tray. "Hi Ed, long time no see." Buddy said. "Yeah. Dylan's car was set on fire the last time you were here." I replied casually before hearing someone spitting out her drink and coughing a lot in the living room. What's wrong? Why you spit? Did I mistake salt for sugar again?" Gloria asked hurriedly as she helped Jenna wipe her mouth with a napkin. With a strained voice, Jenna said, "No. Just entered the wrong pipe," as Gloria finished wiping for her. "So? No napkin for me?" Abraham said, his face drenched in iced lemon tea, as Jenna had previously accidentally aimed her projectile at him. Gloria gasped as she finally noticed him and said, "You need to change your clothes. You can borrow my shirt. First floor. Haley can show you the way," I said from afar as Claire and I were talking with Buddy. "Why are you here?" I asked the cop. Buddy was feeling a bit guilty, so he explained, "No, actually, someone called the station and said that some teenagers were partying with booze and having a sex party here. I came here to check if the report was true, which it clearly wasn't. Maybe someone who was jealous filed a false report. Sorry Ed, I'll leave you alone now." Buddy turned his back to leave, but I said, "Wait. If someone did that, they are probably somewhere nearby. Perhaps take a few pictures to share with the rest of the school tomorrow. So why don't you come in and try out the game I made? I'll appreciate any feedback if you have any." Buddy turned around the neighborhood before making eye contact with a blonde-haired teenage girl who was taking a picture of him talking with me from afar from inside a green convertible. "Hey!" Buddy shouted at the girl, and she pressed the gas pedal and drove away hurriedly after getting what she wanted. "This is going to be a problem. I'll need to get back to the station." Buddy almost walked away, but I grabbed his shoulder to stop him. "Why? So you can search the license plate? Just come in. The picture and the slander will surely be on Facebook a few minutes later. Maybe they are there now. So please come in and we'll see who is the culprit together." Buddy gave up and nodded before walking into the house. He used the laptop to play the game and took a commemorative picture with all of the guests inside the house before getting back to the station. In the meantime, I had already called Harvey and explained the situation to her. "Yeah. I can sue them for defamation, slander, libel, anything you want, and make sure to teach her a lesson," Harvey said from the other line. "Thanks babe. I knew I could count on you." Jenna POV. Although Ed had asked Haley to lead the nerd into his room, I took the lead instead and guided the nerd there as if I had entered his room before. As the situation was too chaotic downstairs, no one actually noticed that I was doing it. "Well, sorry, but I'm not interested in girls like you," Abraham said as we walked into Edward's room. I threw a random shirt at him and kicked him out of the room before he could say anything. I couldn't help but let out a giggle as I was alone inside the room. "It smells like him," I muttered as I lay in his bed and started sniffing his pillow. Without me realizing it, my hands reached underneath my skirt, but I quickly stopped myself after a minute and said, "What the hell am I doing?" He'd hate me if he knew. He's a clean freak after all. Then, I walked out of the room, not knowing that I had left my scent all over his bedsheet and pillows over there. Edward POV. While in the living room, I hung up the call before talking to Haley. "Hey, can you check who's the one who will be posting the picture? Are you sure? I don't think anyone would do it," Haley said as she opened her Facebook account on my laptop. As a lot of people were interested in the scandal, I changed the TV screen to show the Facebook site instead of the game scoreboard. "Emma bet $20 that nothing will happen," Abraham said to Jacob. "Okay. Deal," Jacob said, and they shook hands on the bet. "Wait. Someone tagged me in something," Haley said before clicking on the notification that popped out on the bottom left of her profile. "Madeline posted this a minute ago. That bitch." Tara cursed out loud as she read the Facebook page. The culprit claimed that my party was shut down by the cops. I was arrested. She knew I was trouble of all sorts, claiming everyone who goes here are sluts, and even the picture of me talking with Buddy before this was taken from an angle where people couldn't see Claire in the picture, who was actually standing by my side. Told ya. Jacob said to the beleaguered Abraham, who had run out of money. I thought she would use a fake account to do it. I didn't think she would be dumb enough to post it on her real profile. Abby muttered. Yeah. I said before emailing Harvey the details of the defamation. Ed. Are you really suing her? Claire said in concern. She's pretty young, she might have made a mistake. Claire. She was smart enough to use the police to back up her claims. She was smart enough to use the media to slander me. I'm doing her a favor now. She needs to learn the consequences of her actions. Some people live their lives without anyone holding them responsible for their shitty behavior. They live their entire lives thinking it is okay for them to do so. You're kind of scary now. Luke was reminded of how persistent I was with his bike conspiracy prior to this. But Ed, won't it be better to forgive? Manny said as he couldn't pry his eyes away from the beautiful girl's Facebook pictures displayed on the screen. Manny. You're talking with your dick. Pretty doesn't mean they're never responsible for their actions. I said before turning to Haley, leaving a stunned Manny and Gloria, who were trying to cover his ears as I cursed, but it was too late. Can you post something for me? Sure. Haley replied with a stutter as she too thought that I was looking extra scary even though I had a smile on my face the entire time. Tara said hurriedly, Ed. I'm really sorry for this. It's all my fault. If I didn't tell Madeline about where you dash. Don't worry about it. It's not your fault. I'd expected this after she asked me out, and I rejected her before. With their eyes opened wide, Haley and Abby exclaimed at the same time, She asked you out? I was a bit startled by their synchronization before I answered, Why yeah. She told me to forget about what happened before, but in no way did she give me an apology about it. She said, You can do whatever you want with my body. But honestly, I'd rather touch a 100-day-old rotting corpse with maggots than actually touch her. Jenna heard my words and blinked her eyes slowly twice before asking, Did you say that to her face? And she continued under her breath, Like you did to me? I didn't quite catch what she said at the end, but I answered her with a short smile regardless, No. I actually put a lot of effort into not doing that. I didn't say anything to her. I'm sorry for before, when I call you names, I said as I noticed she was avoiding my gaze. You're actually a pretty good friend when I get to know you better. Jenna beamed up and giggled to herself shyly while Elsa rolled her eyes at her best friend. Great. Now she's going to be more insane. Elsa muttered. Ed. Maybe if you get to know that girl better too, Phil try to intervene to diffuse my anger. Nah. This is different. She maliciously schemed against me. I won't forgive her so easily. I said decisively before typing something on Haley's feed and attaching the picture of the cop before. Phil attempted to calm me down once more, but... Ed. She's so young. Phil. You know she's the reason Haley and I fought before this, right? Phil widened his eyes before declaring seriously, Burn her to the ground. Phil. Claire admonished him quickly. Hey guys, Edward Newgate is here, borrowing Haley Dunphy's Facebook page. Big things are coming soon, so look forward to them. I know some malicious rumors have been started around here, but here we are with the one and only buddy we know, and we love settling things with the law. Don't buy into the filth out there, and don't worry, our label's legal team is already working hard to protect our good name. The picture showed Buddy the cop smiling while being with a group of children, therefore, it would change the slander narrative that I was arrested by the police. If the people were smart enough, they would figure out that Madeline was lying. If they couldn't figure it out, that was just an indictment of the American education system. By the way, 2,000 friends? Do you even know all of them? I asked Haley jokingly after uploading the post. Likes and comments notifications begin popping out before I log out of Haley's Facebook account on my laptop. Okay, let's continue with the beta test. I want to finish the game tonight. I told the group to change the topic. The testing went on for 3 more hours before I finally got the data I needed. One by one, the guests left the house. I gave Abraham the empty container back after we had all enjoyed his mother's brisket before this. Say thanks to your mom. And don't forget to give her this, I said while handing out a slice of tiramisu cake to him. At least this will soothe the anger in my heart, Abraham said in a depressed tone. Big deal. Alex ignored you, and Haley beat your high score easily. Maybe you should consider that you suck instead of blaming it on others. Bitch. Abraham cursed before laughing out loud at my joke and waving goodbye as he walked to his mother's car. Next were Jacob and Elsa, who were dissatisfied as I caught them in front of my room trying to find a private place to make out with each other. Don't be mad. Next time, maybe you'll get lucky and Jacob's mom needs to go on a church cruise or something. Besides, it's too risky to do it here anyway as there are a lot of adults here at the moment. Okay. Stop talking about it, Elsa said while pulling Jacob away. We're going to go and watch a movie at the mall. We can make out there. As Elsa, the little girl, pulled the giant Jacob away, he said, I would love that. Manny and Gloria had headed home earlier than everyone else as Jay planned to take them out for dinner at a restaurant. Jay wished me all the best with my launch and even offered to invest in the game, but I rejected him as the game was almost completed. After Jacob, Tara and Enid were picked up by their parents to get home as they had plans to go on a vacation together. You're quite a good gamer, Enid. I hope we can hang out again soon, I said to the little one. Wait. Really? You want to hang out with me? Yeah. Aren't we already friends now? That's what friends do? I was confused by her choice of words, but then I noticed that her face lit up with happiness. She tried to control it and act cool though, saying, sure. I'll hang out with you if you want. Sweet. Bye. I waved goodbye at the two siblings before returning to the living room. I snapped my fingers at Alex before saying, let's go take the pictures. I want to see what suits you best. Oh, okay. Wait. I want a model too, Haley said in a hurry before following us from behind. I want to watch, Abby said as she followed the group too. Claire said to Phil, I should probably go supervise them. Chapter 68, Curse of the Yellow Bird, Part 3. Edward POV. Despite me only inviting Alex into my room, Abby and the entire Dunphy family had followed along, squeezing themselves inside my small room to join in the fun. Let's try the circular frame glasses first, I said as I held a papier-mâché glasses frame model that took me a lot of work to detail gently and put it on Alex's face. As I had told her not to move casually to avoid breaking the model, she had to face me without managing to avoid her gaze as we sat face to face for me to study her compatibility with the glass frame. She looks like Harry Potter, Luke said. Ugh. Alex was angered and wanted to turn her face toward Luke, who was standing behind her, but I grabbed both sides of her face to stop her from moving. Stay still, Alex. First warning. First warning? What are you going to do when she runs out of warning? Phil asked while closing Luke's mouth to prevent him from saying anything else. Except for Haley and Abby, who were sitting on my bed, the rest of the family was standing behind Alex. Punish her, of course, I replied casually and with a mischievous smile. Before Alex could retort, I said, the frame is great. So vain, Abby retorted from behind. I gave a side-eye to her before continuing talking to Alex, but as your baby fat is still there, it's not compatible with your face shape. Let's try something else. As she had to take off her glasses during the test, Alex's farsightedness only allowed her to look at my face clearly, only at my face. Her eyes were glued to my every facial expression change, laugh, face symmetry, and everything else that she could see on me. Her face blushed red, which made me wonder if she was embarrassed to be doing this in front of her family. Haley laughed a little and said, Hey Alex. He called you fat. You have baby fat cheeks too, I said before Alex could explode, stunning Haley immediately. Alex and Claire laughed at Haley's reaction while Phil and Luke got distracted and went on to take a tour of my room instead. I'm not fat, Haley said hurriedly. If there was one thing I understood clearly about Haley was that she was very self-conscious about her weight. Alex even said she had an eating disorder in the series one time in my previous life. Therefore, I had to tread lightly while dealing with this topic. I'm not saying you're fat. Your figure is very thin. I'm just saying you have a baby fat cheek. It's common in adolescence, and it'll disappear when you become an adult. Just ask your mom and dad. I said reassuringly without even looking at Haley, and changed Alex's glasses type to a top half rectangular, bottom half circular glasses type. Oh. She looks good in this. I muttered in satisfaction. Let me see. Claire said hurriedly and got in between Alex and I. Oh. She looks really cute. Wait, really? Phil said excitedly. Really? Haley muttered in disappointment. Abby already grabbed the circular glasses and put them on while calling for me. Ed. Does this make me look cute? She said as she made a few poses with the empty glasses frame. It does. But if you wore glasses for a fashion statement rather than necessity, my opinion on you will be lowered instantly. Abby was flabbergasted as didn't expect me to be so callous, while Alex nodded lightly a few times as she felt satisfied that someone had shared the same line of thinking with her in this world. So we're picking this for Alex, right? Haley wanted to end the test quickly as the sight of me getting intimate with Alex was making her uncomfortable. But I haven't finished testing all of my frames yet. This one is a full rectangular frame, I said as I put a Ray-Ban design frame on her face. After studying her face for a few seconds, I said, this one is great too. But you said it with no excitement in your face. Why? Alex asked. I'm torn now. Which one should I pick? I said as I put my hand underneath my chin and started thinking deeply. Alex was baffled and said, couldn't I choose? I mulled her words and said decisively, no. Alex became irritated and said, why not? I'm the one who's going to wear it. You can't even look at your reflection wearing that, and I'm supposed to trust your decision? She opened her mouth to retort, but no word could come out. Well. Well is a hole on the ground when you're thirsty. Just trust me. You can count on me to make the right decision. You, burn. Luke exclaimed to tease Alex. She turned to him and said with a scrunch-up, puzzled face, that's not a burn. Just shut up if you can't understand English. Well, yeah. How about this for a burn? You're short. Luke retorted, well, he tried. Claire and Phil shook their heads slightly while Haley laughed at Luke's burn as she really thought that did something. Ed, you're going to take the pictures now? Haley asked. I turned toward her and saw both of the girls were playing with the frame model. Want us to model for you? Haley said while lowering her half-half glasses frame seductively. If the model is broken, I'm going to sue you guys. I said without mercy. After getting the pictures, I returned to the living room to clean up, just to see that everything had been straightened up and tidied. The empty glasses had been put into the dishwasher, the sofa cushion had been fixed and chopped up, and the table had been wiped with a clean rag. Claire. Did you do this? I asked in confusion as I turned to Claire, who was standing behind me. No. I went up straight after. Claire replied, not knowing what was the problem there. Dead. We're going to go home now. Abby, you're going home too. Claire said. But dash. No. I'm not letting you guys hang out alone in an empty house. That kind of environment is dangerous for teens. Hey. Are you really going to create a song for me? I want you to know that it isn't necessary anymore. The glasses are enough. Alex said as Claire had pulled both Haley and Abby to the front door. Too late, Alex. Too late. I muttered mischievously, causing Alex to widen her eyes. You'd done it? Alex asked with a mixture of horrified and excitement displayed within her expression. I shrugged and said casually, I got inspired while testing the frames before this. It still needs a few tweaks though. I need you here. Alex called out to her mother automatically as she didn't know how to handle the situation. Claire turned her head to look at Alex and I while releasing her grip on Haley's and Abby's hand. "What happened?" Claire asked as she walked toward us. "He wrote a song. For me." Alex replied woodenly, amusing me with her colorful reactions. Haley and Abby's face turned pale white as they heard it. "That man whore," Abby muttered while Haley agreed with her. Phil ran towards me and hugged me unexpectedly as he was too happy at this moment. One new song per day? I don't know which world I had saved in my past life for me to be blessed like this. Pandora. Where the blue aliens live. I said seriously, making it seem to the simple others that I wasn't joking. Phil was absorbed instantly and asked, "Am I the human or the alien?" "Neither. You're the fish the dragon ate." Luke laughed while Phil sighed in displeasure as he thought he could be something awesome in his past life. "How can a fish save the world?" "You're not making sense," Phil said. "Because, if the dragon didn't eat the fish, then they wouldn't have the energy to fight the human mecha robots. So the fish's sacrifice allowed Pandora to fight back against the invasion." The entire group of people there was stunned by my eloquence, and even Phil had started to think that maybe being a fish wasn't bad at all. The Avatar movie was released in March instead of December 2009 in this world, therefore the people here could understand the reference. The movie was one of the slight changes this world has compared to my previous world among a few others. Okay. Stop talking about a fish. Ed. You really created a song? Do you want to play it now, or do you want some time to practice? Claire asked. I can do it now. But it'll be quite embarrassing since you guys are here. Claire became anxious and muttered, "What? Us? Is it a sexy song? Is it a lewd song about making love dash?" "Lewd?" I muttered, confused by the accusation. Before Claire could spiral further, Phil closed her mouth and dragged her to the sofa to calm down. "Ed, pretend we aren't here. We won't say anything. We really want to see you play your new song," Phil said, his eyes were begging me to let him stay. I sighed and said, "Okay then. But reserve all comments till tomorrow. I'm too mentally exhausted to deal with the feedback now. I still need to finish up my game. Ed. If you're busy, we can postpone this," Alex said as she was feeling incredibly embarrassed and scenarios about me serenading her started to play in her mind. "Which instrument?" Abby asked. "I can do ukulele or guitar," I replied before Abby ran to my room to pick it up. Haley's commentary. "Guitar will be too romantic for just Alex. So ukulele is better for him to play with. Also, how dare he? He's such a player. Just one day passed since he made a song for me dash." Commentary cut short as Haley spiraled into madness. "Okay. Here goes," I said as I sat on the edge of the sofa while facing the group audience sitting and standing nearby in the living room. Holding the ukulele in position, I started to strum a high-tempo beat that reminded people of a cheerful atmosphere. Bruno Mars' Count on Me.
If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you.
Claire muttered, "He has a lot of songs about seas, huh? No wonder as he's the son of a ship's captain." Haley widened her eyes as she heard the intro. Haley's commentary. "Damn it. That song is catchier than mine." Commentary ends.
If you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see, I'll be the light to guide you. Find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need.
Another hit. Phil shouted abruptly, causing all of us to be stunned. I froze and my hand that was strumming the guitar string stopped. I slowly raised my head to look at Phil and said in confusion, "What?" Phil became apologetic and said, "Sorry. Please continue. Claire and Haley rolled their eyes at him while I shrugged and continued with the chorus.
You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah.
Alex blushed and muttered to herself, damn it. Now I can't be mad anymore. Haley let go of her jealousy as she heard the word friends, and started to enjoy the song instead of keeping her vigilance.
Ooh, yeah.
Luke was humming along unconsciously at the melody while Abby decided to record the whole thing using her iPhone.
If you're tossing and you're turning and you just can't fall asleep, I'll sing a song beside you.
Really? Haley said in excitement. Abby rolled her eyes at her and said, it's only for Alex, maybe, I don't know.
And if you ever forget how much you really mean to me, every day I will remind you. Oh, find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need.
Everybody. I called out to the audience for a sing-along. Together.
You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah.
Edward.
You'll always have my shoulder when you cry. I'll never let go, never say goodbye. You know you can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, ooh. You can count on me 'cause I can count on you.
I ended the melody abruptly and stood up. Thank you all for coming. Have a nice day. Wait. Ed. Why are you chasing us away? Claire said with a smirk as she could deduce what I was feeling right now. He's embarrassed. He didn't think the song through. Abby added to my misery by explaining to everyone about the situation. Why are you embarrassed for a song about friends? Alex asked with a reddish hue on her face from blushing. It makes me look like I've never had any true friends before. I said in embarrassment before I walked to the stairs. I'm going to scream in my pillow. Have a good night, everyone. Please don't contact me for the next 2 or 3 days. Otherwise the cringe will reappear. The group laughed at my actions before ending today's gathering. The Dunphys then said their goodbyes and walked to their house while Abby returned to her home. Phil and Claire's commentary. I feel bad for suspecting him. Feeling embarrassed from a song about friends proved that he's still a young kid. Claire said and paused for a while as she waited for Phil to talk, but he didn't. Phil? Claire called out to him softly to snap him out of his daydreaming. Sorry. I'm thinking about my life as a fish. If I'm a fish, I have to be a swordfish, or a hammerhead shark, Phil said in excitement. Or a blowfish. Claire added with a smile. Phil laughed as he looked at Claire's face before pushing her shoulder with his finger and said, someone's feeling naughty. Claire was flabbergasted by her unconscious innuendo and gazed into the camera with disbelief. Alex's commentary. At first, I thought he thought about it a lot when he made the song for Haley. But when this happened, it made me realize that he didn't plan anything at all. Rather, the song is too easy for him to get it out. It's like putting coins into a musical vending machine. Alex said. She paused and then showed a bright smile afterward, and that vending machine is my best friend. Her face turned deadpan and she said, I really hope he won't date my sister. Ugh. I wanted to puke when I thought about it. Third-person POV. Abby, I'll walk you. Haley said as she separated from her family members to walk with her friends. Haley. Don't take too long. Claire shouted from afar as Haley moved into a different direction from her house. Okay, Mom. Haley said as she grabbed Abby's arm before whispering, so. Are we going to talk about it? Talk about what? Abby asked, trying to play it cool. About how you blatantly seduced your ex-boyfriend at his house. I thought you guys were finished. So why did you do that? Do you want him back? Haley asked while hiding her tumultuous heart. I don't know. I like him. Just because we were broken up, doesn't mean that I can throw away all of my feelings for him. I missed him, a lot. Abby said with a sigh. She turned to Haley and shared what was in her mind, although we said we're going to be friends after. It was awkward between us. We talked, but it wasn't the same. So when we reach a point where we can hang out normally again, all of the feelings I have resurfaced. I'm sorry if I made you feel uncomfortable. You helped me to avoid making things awkward before, right? That's why you sat on him with me? Abby said, feeling extra grateful today that she has a friend like the girl in front of her. Haley's eyes shook and she said, why? It's all planned out. You know. You're pretty smart, Haley. You helped me in such a sophisticated way. If someday after I had gotten back to New York, and you felt that you wanted to ask Edward out, do it. I will be rooting for you then. Abby said as she gave Haley a light hug. Haley's commentary. While punching her chest a few times, Haley said in frustration, the guilt is eating me inside out. Ugh. But, thank God Ed and I didn't date. Otherwise, it'll be a disaster. Commentary ends. Edward POV. I need a shower. I said as I took off my clothes and walked to the bathroom with only a towel wrapped around my waist. I turned on the shower and put my head under the cold water to distinguish the excitement my body was experiencing from the girls' attack before this. Damn those two girls. I said as I put shampoo on my hair. My lower body kept asking to be taken care of, but I was too tired to care. As I was washing my hair, I suddenly heard the door hinges shrieking quietly as if someone was entering the bathroom. I didn't lock it as I knew I was the only one in my house before I took a bath. I peeked at the door with a head filled with soap, but I didn't see anything unusual, just the door was open slightly. The wind, maybe. I muttered as I continued to take a bath. After finishing my shower, I put on a robe and walked downstairs to get some coffee as I planned on staying up late today. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. I was confused as it wasn't time for my dad to get home yet, but then I heard a familiar voice calling for me from the outside. Ed. Are you there? Haley was calling me with a frantic voice. I hurriedly opened the door in case something terrible had happened to her and said, What happened? Are you all right? No. I'm in trouble. We both are in trouble. Haley said with desperation as she barged into my house. I closed the door and walked toward Haley, who directly went to sit at the sofa. Explain it to me, I said calmly. Haley opened her mouth, and then she realized she had almost exposed what Abby had shared to her personally before. Anyway, you shouldn't flirt with Abby, or me anymore, Haley said. I sighed as I thought something terrible had happened. I know. I'd controlled myself greatly today. It was the two of you that decided to torture me. What are you guys thinking about anyway? When did we torture you? Haley said as she closed her face with mine. Her left hand fell into my thing.
You know what you were doing this evening, like you're doing right now. Don't put your hands so close. I'm not wearing anything underneath.
Haley blushed, but she didn't take off her hand.
I'm serious about this. No more.
You said that yesterday too, and today you did it in front of your parents. So forgive me if I can't believe what you're saying right now,
I said teasingly.
Haley's eyes shook before her gaze was distracted with something else. She saw the light hickey mark on my neck that became prominent as I took a hot shower before. She was quickly reminded of the affairs of last night, and wanted to remove her hand before she accidentally slipped and it fell straight to my manhood.
Ah!
Haley let out a cute yelp before she said, "Why are you hard?"
Haley! Come on! I said as I stood up abruptly. Also, I'm not hard. But you and Abby's teasing make me almost out of my mind.
So, just leave. Before I do something that I would regret.
Haley ignored my words and said, "Wait? You're not? Then, why is it so?"
Haley! Be sure where you are going with this, I said as I turned toward her. Haley sighed before she said, "Okay."
I know.
She stood up from the couch and stood facing me before she said, seriously.
After today. No more. Yeah. No more. Then, she gave me an unexpected hug. A hug that someone would give if they wanted to say goodbye to someone else.
I held the back of her waist as she wrapped her arms around my neck. Then, she realized something was poking at her from underneath. After a short period of internal struggle, she followed her impulses and said, "You know.
It is my fault anyway." "What is?" I asked in confusion. Suddenly, she infiltrated her hands underneath my robe.
"So I'll help you to take care of this.
After that, we're not flirting anymore."
After walking Haley almost to her house, I returned to my home to take a nap. I had set an alarm to wake me up at 4 a.m. to finish the game before the 9 a.m. launch. I planned to send her to her house, but she thought if someone saw it, they would get suspicious about it, and only allowed me to 20 meters from her house. I could see she walked in safely, and that was enough for me. As I laid in the bed and fell into dreamland, I didn't realize that someone was standing nearby my bed and was watching me sleep. The same person who had peeked at me while I was showering was still in my house, as I technically haven't sent her away today after the beta test was over.
Chapter 69, Flappy Bird Launch. Haley POV. What's wrong with you? Alex asked in confusion as I entered the room. What's wrong with me? I asked as I touched my face to understand what she was talking about.
You look relaxed, like you just got back from a spa or something, Alex said before she lost interest and continued reading her book. I swallowed my saliva in fear of how sharp my sister was before I went under my blanket and pretended to go to sleep to avoid answering the question.
Alex is so scary,
I thought. Edward managed to do what none of the other boys I dated before did, that was, granted permission to go down there.
But I cannot do that again. I whined as I kicked up the blanket without getting my legs out of it. The feeling of what if and if I could kept haunting me. Why did I ever decide to stay as friends with him?
Shut up.
Alex scolded me as I was too noisy while she was trying to study.
I became docile and laid down quietly in bed before I said to her, "What do you think about his song for you?"
"It's good,"
Alex replied curtly as she was disinterested in having the conversation with me.
I scoffed and said, "A song about friends? Ha! You're in the friend zone, Alex.
Your song is about a girl who got dumped after a one-night stand.
I wouldn't be proud of it if I were you,"
Alex said sarcastically.
"No. It's about forbidden LO. I mean, I'm being true to oneself?"
"Yeah, being true to oneself." I defended my song while throwing a bear doll at Alex.
"Jerk." Haley's commentary.
I nearly told Alex what happened, just minutes after being alone with her.
What's wrong with me? And why did I want to tell her everything? Commentary ends. Ow. Skank!
Alex cursed as the bear hit her head.
Oomph! I'm not talking to you, I said as I angrily pulled the blanket to cover my face.
Alex turned off her desk lamp and went to bed 15 minutes later, making the entire room dark. She lost all mood to study after our short fight. Underneath my blanket, I was having a truly intense struggle about my actions today. Why did I say he's not like other guys? That meant I did a lot of guys. He noticed, didn't he? ARHH. Although my words were on purpose to make him lose interest in me, the way he reacted caused me to admire him more. I guess he knew that I was only pretending to be a slutty girl, and was still a virgin at the time. The skills were from mock practice. Cucumber LOL. Haley Dunphy is the most popular girl in school. I got a reputation to keep. But now, I wasn't sure that being a popular girl was the path I wanted to take anymore. It was easy being dumb and pretty, but I always felt lonely, like no one really understood me in this world. Ed spoke up for me. He helped me get closer to my mother. He sang a song for me, and threw away his prejudice towards my grandmother just for us. It's not fair. He's too young. Why am I attracted to him? I muttered. Abby's words about giving me the green light for dating him in the future after she left kept ringing in my mind. Blood rushed to my face as I thought about what we had done tonight. I stared at my phone and saw that it was almost 1 a.m. He's sleeping now, right? Or, is he like me, restless and unable to sleep, as he keeps thinking about what we did before arg whatever? I reluctantly went to take a shower and clean up all of his traces from my body before I finally fell asleep that night. As if God wanted to torture me, I dreamt about the both of us going all the way as I gave him my first time. I may pretend to be slutty, but I wouldn't go so far as to actually be with someone that I wasn't sure was worth the experience. Jenna POV. /N, she seems mentally unstable, which was on purpose. I will tell you why this bit was important during the decathlon arc. Evening, before the party had ended. Are you sure you're not coming with us? Elsa asked before she and Jacob left Edward's house. Yeah. I'm going to stay for a while. Don't worry, my mom will send someone to come pick me up. As I waved goodbye to Jacob and Elsa, I went to Edward's kitchen and started avoiding him to make sure he didn't know I'd stayed behind. He did ask Alex about me a few times, but even Alex didn't realize that I was still there, and they came to the conclusion that I had left with Jacob and Elsa to go to the cinema. From there, I lurked around his house until everything was over. Oh, he's singing a song, for Alex? I muttered in jealousy as I enjoyed watching him sing from the gap of the closet door I peeked through. He created a phenomenal song as usual, but my heart felt uncomfortable as I saw him laughing around with the family. He never showed me that kind of smile, ever. A sincere smile that showed he truly enjoyed the company of the family. A smile where he was comfortable to be himself around them. All I ever have is a teasing smile, or a kind smile, but never a sincere one. The family had left now. It's just the two of us inside the house. My heart beats quickly as I follow him around without him realizing it, not noticing how creepy my actions were. I just wanted to understand him better. He's taking a shower. I took a small jump, giddily dancing around before silently walking toward the bathroom. I opened up the door and peeked at him from outside, but I was almost caught by him, therefore I could only see his body for a few seconds. However, that was enough for me to replay the memory while adding my imagination to it. It's big. I thought in excitement before running away to the closet. As I was stalking him, suddenly the doorbell rang. That's the girl, Haley, why is she here? I thought as I saw her sitting next to Ed on the couch. I couldn't hear what they were talking about, but their conversation was heated. Suddenly, their conversation turned physical and they were doing adult things in the living room. No. He's mine. I muttered in dissatisfaction as I watched the whole thing. I got turned on watching them, and my hand unconsciously slid into my panties as I watched. However, they didn't have sex with each other, and I found out that they agreed to end their entanglement today. So they are broken up? I'm confused.
My breath became heavy as I dazedly entered Edward's room while he was sleeping.
I gazed at his face and muttered, "Liar.
You told me you liked smart girls. You told me you liked MILFs. But then you do that with Haley, so what am I supposed to do now? She's like me, you know? So why couldn't it be me?"
Without me realizing it, tears fell out of my eyes as I asked the sleeping Ed my questions. I slowly got into bed with him, and I cuddled with him. I touched his weapon, but the moment I did that, I remembered how angry he was when Madeline slighted him before.
Actions have consequences if he knew I was here. Then I guess he would get a restraining order against me.
I finally realized that I had been creeping around him for too long, and I left soon after, but not till I got a sample of what he tasted like, kissing his lips before disappearing. My driver had already waited 6 hours outside the house, so I just silently got into the car.
I left Edward's neighborhood around 2:30 a.m. and went straight home.
My tears kept falling down during the whole ride before I went and locked myself in my room so as to not let anyone know about it.
Edward POV. In the small, teenage boy room. Why is my face wet?
I thought as I woke up from my 4 hours sleep. I reached for my phone to turn off the alarm before I stared at the ceiling, trying to check if there was any leak from the roof or water damage, but I didn't find any. Weird. I washed my face and opened up my laptop after drinking a cup of coffee before I started the usual grind.
I missed this, I muttered as I finished up the Flappy Bird game.
In my previous life, not sleeping at night to work on bugs and full-stack coding was a normal occurrence. Although I didn't wish to return to that kind of life, I have to admit I missed the experience. I had managed to launch an animated trailer for the game thanks to Pepper's connection, but I had only posted it on YouTube a few days back. Although it hadn't reached 1 million views yet, the feedback around the trailer was very good, and people were excited. Also a few days ago, I noticed that I had a fan club page on Facebook that had just been created 3 days ago and had already reached 31,000 followers. The agency reached out to the fan club and found out it was created by Lily's, the same girl who gave me the fairy tale keyword during my last concert. She was flabbergasted when the agency contacted her, and our company soon reached an agreement with her to cooperate in running the page, thus making it my official fan club.
Let's see. I need to put the terms and agreement in.
I muttered as I inserted the terms that Harvey had drafted after I shared her possible reactions from the users who downloaded the game. The terms and agreement would help me to avoid possible lawsuits against those who were utterly broken by the game. The reason Flappy Bird became viral was because of the game's difficulty. It would be stupid for me to lower my difficulty here in the world. But, seriously, it will be launched 3 years earlier.
Will it still be a viral game?
Even though I had some concerns about the game release date, I still continue to code while waiting for the game launch. An official notice was posted on my fan club page about a game I created, and how I made the songs inside the game too.
Although it's just a quirky soundtrack.
At 6 a.m., suddenly someone knocked on my bedroom door 3 times. Dad opened the door and greeted me while standing in front of my bedroom without walking in. "Hey."
I saw the light was up. You're catching the sunrise?
I turned slightly to the left to meet his eyes as he opened the door. I rolled my eyes when I heard his greeting and said sarcastically, "You'll never find me waking up early to catch the sunrise."
Dad smiled and asked, "Are you finishing the game? Is there still much work to be done?" "Just sanding off the rough edges. I'll finish soon," I answered dismissively as my fingers continued to type on the keyboard.
I had to split my focus with parallel thinking to do so, otherwise it would be impossible for anyone to code without looking at the screen.
"Okay. Do you want me to bring you breakfast?" Dad offered. "That'll be great. Thank you. I want hash browns and coffee." "Wait, do you want me to go out and buy it?" He was flabbergasted as we usually didn't go out to buy breakfast. Not since I unlocked my previous life memory a month ago.
Of course.
The fridge is empty. I served all the food at the beta testing yesterday. There's only the ropa vieja left. Do you want to have that for breakfast? Dad gulped his saliva and said, "I'll go out and get it for you. Do you want anything else?" "Nah. I'm good. Pepper is coming here at 8, so buy some for him too. Okay, for the record, I still think that I should take the day off today. He felt bad as he couldn't be here for the launch. Although I was the one who decided he should go do the trip for a few movie studio execs, he couldn't help but have a guilty conscience about it. It's all right. You need to do your job properly if you want the business to grow. I'm already searching for another ship captain, and we're now leveraging the ship to buy another boat. We're taking over all the business at the port anyway. A few businesses tried to create their own websites, but all of them suck. They desperately tried to convince me to introduce them to the web developer, but Dad snorted as he remembered the other business owner's reaction. All of them were frozen when they heard my son made the company's website. I laughed and said, they didn't even know that, dash. Before I could continue, a light bulb was turned on inside my head. Wait, I think I can do it. Absorb them all. No, Dad, this isn't the time. I need to focus on my work here. Dad was puzzled and he said defensively, I didn't even say anything. Go get my breakfast. Quick. I'm really hungry. Okay. I'll make sure to bring a big portion for you. I nodded at my dad before he closed the door and went out to the restaurant. Third-person POV. Ted drove 15 minutes toward another part of town where he arrived at a restaurant Edward had recommended to him. Hash browns, muffins, coffee, and bagels to go, please. Ted ordered with the waitress after sitting down on an empty chair. Maxine, the kind Southern woman, replied teasingly, a big breakfast, love? I thought you were dieting based on your son's order? It's for him. He's working hard right now, so I'm bringing it over to him. Ted replied as he felt comfortable around Maxine already, as this was his 7th visit. He usually stopped by after work, as he wanted to get lunch together with the ship's crew at the restaurant. All this was thanks to Maxine, who always treated them kindly every single time they visited, so they all frequented the place. Wait. He's already working? A feminine voice interjected to Ted and Maxine's conversation. Ted turned his head around the restaurant to scan for the source of the voice before he found a pair of mother and daughter were sitting behind him. Oh, hi, Abby. Anne. Desiree. Both of them decided to go out for breakfast and didn't expect to see Ted there. Abby had turned her wastefully to face Ted and she asked again, he's working this early in the morning? Maxine was baffled when she realized it and added, on a Saturday. Then, she hit Ted's shoulder. Ow. I didn't force him to work, but yeah, he did wake up early. Maybe around 4 a.m. 4 a.m. Maxine exclaimed in bewilderment and hit Ted's shoulder again. Stop that. Ted said while rubbing the sore spot on his shoulder. He's supposed to sleep in and wake up late in the afternoon. Like ordinary boys would. I'm not giving you coffee, Maxine said before she walked to the kitchen. The coffee's for me though. Ted muttered, but Maxine had already walked away. Desire looked at Ted's uniformed attire while biting her lower lip. She especially enjoyed seeing his big arms, and kept staring at Ted without him noticing it. Abby had fallen deep in thought about Edward, so she said, Mr. Newgate. You're going to work, right? I can give Edward his breakfast if you want. Ted thought for a few seconds before saying, I don't want to trouble you, dash. It's not troubling at all. I'll be glad to do it. Abby said. I thought we were going to the mall. Desire mumbled in disappointment while looking dejected. We can go in the afternoon. I want to see him launching his game. Abby said to try and comfort her mother. He said it's not worth seeing. He would just upload the game to the store, and that's it. Ted said, not to prevent Abby from going over there, but it was what Edward had said to comfort him for missing the launch event. Then I'll just go to give him breakfast, Abby said decisively. Desiree sighed and turned to Ted. How about this? After you finish, come pick me up at the marina. I want to see the port as I have never gone there before, Desiree said. I'll hitch a ride with Captain Ted if that's all right with you? Ted gulped his saliva as he saw Desiree batting her eyes at him. Oh, okay. We can do that. Excellent,
Desiree said as she moved her seat to sit at Ted's table. She lightly touched Ted's arm as she talked with him about how his son saved her before, and kept being flirty with him. However, Abby still didn't realize what her mother was doing as she was too absorbed with the whole Ed situation.
What should I say when I enter his house? Breakfast is here? What if he thinks I am the food? Will he eat me?
She mumbled gleefully as she waited for the order to arrive. Maxine returned with the food soon after, and Abby grabbed the packaged food from Maxine before she could put it down on the table.
I'll meet you there,
Abby said as she waved goodbye to her mother.
No rush,
Desiree replied as she dragged her words before running her hands up and down Ted's biceps again.
Oh, you're so hard. You must work out a lot,
she said as she accidentally squeezed Ted's arm.
I do, quite a bit,
Ted replied with a flushing face as he still hadn't taken the hint despite Desiree's advances toward him. Abby texted Haley before she drove to Ed's house in excitement, not knowing how her text message would make Haley react. But she was lucky as there was no way for Haley to wake up in the early morning on a Saturday. Haley was still sleeping, with her hair unkempt and her mouth half opened. A strand of hair was stuck on her face because of the drool coming out of her mouth. Her phone chimed a few times, but she didn't even flinch at the sound.
Mom!
I'm going to Edward's house to pick up my bike.
Luke ran toward the front doors without wearing his pants from his excitement.
Luke!
Pants first! Claire yelled at him from the kitchen.
Luke finally realized he was in his tighty whities as he looked at his legs. He ran up to his room, passing by Alex who was going downstairs while reading the novel, The Scarlet Letter.
Honey! Can you please go with Luke to get his bike back?
He finished all of his chores today. Claire requested with a kind voice as Alex rarely gave her trouble when asked to do something.
No problem.
I'll make sure he won't get his bikes back. That way, he will clean up the toilet after using them. Alex said casually, and before Claire could react, she was already outside the door.
This might be a mistake,
Claire muttered in concern. Then she shrugged and exclaimed dismissively, oh well, before going to the kitchen to make breakfast for the kids. Phil had an open house to attend today, and left the house around 6 a.m., so he couldn't come with Luke in his quest to finally reclaim what was his.
Edward POV. Bagel. I ordered.
A pale white hand picked up the bagel and fed me while I was focusing on finishing the game.
Coffee. I ordered.
Abby picked up the cup of coffee she got from my kitchen and said in dissatisfaction while feeding me the coffee, this wasn't what I expected when I came here today.
What did you expect? I smirked teasingly as I glanced at her. She avoided my eyes and answered with a stutter, anyway. Are you finished?
Soon.
I'm compiling, I said as I took a break from my laptop.
I stretched my arms to the air as I let out a grunt. I massaged my right shoulder after that.
Are you okay? Abby asked in concern. I'm just tired, I replied. I'll help you massage it,
Abby said before she stood behind me and put her hands on my shoulders.
Right then, Alex and Luke barged into my room. Hey, you didn't lock the door. That's dangerous, Alex said casually as I turned toward her with a surprised expression. I want my bike. I did the chores. I want it, Luke demanded as he held his right arm towards me. Speak politely, I said with a devilish grin.
Luke whimpered before he changed his attitude. May I have my bike back, please, sir?
You don't have to call me sir. Sure, you can get your bike back. You did well.
Of course, you could have gotten it earlier if you had just listened to me in the first place, but this is good too,
I said as I threw him the key to his bike lock. This is for the new bike. Come by next week and we will get started on pimping out your old bike. Yes,
Luke shouted in excitement as his misery was over. I do hope he learned something from this lesson and will apply it in his daily life after this. I turned to Alex, who had a smile on her face as she was infected by her brother's excitement. Although she always teased him, she was genuinely happy for him too when he achieved anything. Alex noticed I was staring at her and hid her smile immediately.
No. I'm just happy I don't have to report to you anymore.
It's exhausting to have to supervise him.
Sure. Let's go with that excuse, I said teasingly, making Alex avoid my eyes in embarrassment. Hello, children.
Suddenly Pepper appeared from behind Luke and Alex, startling everyone there.
That's a bit of an overreaction. I told you I was coming. I thought that's why you didn't lock the door,
Pepper said as he barged into the room. He looked at Abby, who was frozen in spot while still holding my shoulder, and said, "You guys have broken up, right?"
All right, Dash. Hey. Continue massaging. Alex, follow Luke to fetch the bike. Don't let him touch anything else in the garage.
Sure,
Alex replied. I don't need a babysitter, Luke said in annoyance.
Pepper waited downstairs for me to finish with my game. I uploaded the game exactly at 9 a.m. and was finally finished with my first project in this world. I released 2 versions of the game, one with an ads option, one without. The one without cost 99 cents a month while the other one was free.
Now we wait,
I muttered before Abby suddenly hugged me in excitement.
Congrats, Eddie. I'm sure the game will do well. It's very fun.
Sure.
But stop rubbing your body on me. I haven't had a bath yet, I said while patting Abby's back.
She released me and blood rushed to her face as she was embarrassed. Directly after Abby released me, which took only a few seconds, I saw the data on the screen.
Already 100 downloads? Damn.
The downloads numbers kept increasing and it reached 10,000 in just an hour, but I was no longer monitoring them as I had to follow Pepper to the recording studio.
Chapter 70, Busy Day. Pepper POV. I'm worried.
As I drove Edward to the recording studio, I saw that he was taking a nap as he had woken up so early today. He's been pushing himself lately. Putting a jacket on the young teen's body to cover him up from the cold, I drove a bit slower than usual to let him sleep a little bit longer. I couldn't help but to notice that he put a huge burden on himself. It was as if he feared that the moment he stopped working, he would lose all of his value. Sigh, the curse of a genius.
But I guess that's my role in his story.
I need to prevent him from crumbling, I muttered underneath my breath as I glanced at him. Suddenly, I got a call from a close friend. I pushed the button on my Bluetooth earphone to answer it and spoke in a slightly toned-down volume lest I interrupt Edward's sleep.
Pepper, we're already here. Where are you? Mitchell asked me.
I guessed he had already arrived at the studio.
Patience, my boy.
A wizard is never late, nor is he early, he arrives precisely when he means to, I replied. The ring is already in Sauron's hand. The fire of Mordor has already spread throughout the lands, Gondor has fallen and the men of the Rittermark are now slaves to the Dark One's will. Cam interjected, in which I assumed he had snatched the phone from Mitchell. Cam had recently been complaining about how he was the only one that had been left behind while Mitch and I enjoyed watching Edward's performance by ourselves without thinking about him. That was why I called him over today, just to rub his nose in the fact that no matter how much he pestered me, he would never get to see the magical moment once more. And also to finally shut him up.
Don't be so dramatic.
I'll be there in another 10 minutes. Besides, I gave you guys the wrong time anyway, so no one else is there yet.
What? Why? Cam asked in frustration. I giggled and said, why indeed? Mitch and Cam's commentary. Mitchell tried to explain, okay.
A little while back, Cam gave Pepper the wrong time for a party.
A little while? Cam was offended by Mitchell's effort to downplay the pettiness.
He said, it was 7 years ago.
I didn't even remember it.
But he held a grudge for 7 whole years.
Mitchell waited for Cam to calm down before saying, so yeah.
He played us. But he already showed mercy and toned down the retribution because we have a baby. Otherwise he would have left us stranded in the middle of the desert for a day.
Cam added with fear in his eyes. He wouldn't do that, Mitchell said smilingly. Cam turned to him and asked, wouldn't he, Mitchell? Wouldn't he? Of course he would.
Mitchell looked at the camera with a frozen expression as he thought about the possibility of that actually happening.
Commentary ends. We arrived at the recording studio at noon.
As I saw the studio, I couldn't help but let out a disappointed sigh. If only Mother trusted me. I had a talk with my mother, or rich widow that inherited almost all of my oil magnate father's wealth, for a chance to relocate the studio somewhere nearby a few days ago at her annual dinner party, but she wouldn't let me do that as she thought I was currently being tricked by an incubus that would siphon away all of her wealth.
Pepper, Mitchell called out to me in excitement after I parked the car.
Ed was still sleeping, so I held a finger on my lips and hushed Mitchell quickly. He took a look at my driver's seat and nodded in understanding before we moved a bit further from Ed to have a talk.
So, how did it go? Do you have more money yet? Cam asked snarkily as he joined Mitchell and I while holding Lily in his arms. Are you crazy, bringing a baby here? She could burst an eardrum,
I said in horror as I saw the Asian baby in Cam's eyes.
Don't be dramatic. It's a studio.
And see, I brought headphones for her,
Cam said excitedly.
He dressed her up like a panda, probably because of her heritage.
That made me wonder, is she Chinese? I remember she's from a different country.
Mitchell noticed my confusion and said in defense, she grabbed the clothes today and wouldn't let go. So we dressed her up in the clothes she picked. He brought his palms together before saying, back to the original topic.
Are you sure you can launch the album without more funding? If only she would listen to me. And come to meet Ed. I know she wouldn't be able to withstand his charms, I said in disappointment. To answer your question, no. But we can release his singles in a few days.
Mother threw me a check for being her favorite son, although I am her only son and only child. Mitch and Cam nodded in acknowledgement of my misery before I continued. The revenue from that will be reinvested into his album production. Right now, I only have money for his music video production.
I can't even host brunch this week. I'm like you, I tell you. Poor. Poor. If you need help, I can talk to my dad.
He might not seem like it, but he's Edward's hardcore fan. Manny said he listened to the song 7 years every day, and even sang the song in the shower.
Really? Is your father rich? I asked Mitchell in excitement. Have you seen his wife? Cam interjected. Maybe I did. But I don't remember. I replied. Believe me. You would remember. Cam said with a slight nodding.
Mitchell nodded too, but I still didn't understand why they were doing that at the moment. We walked to the front door, but before I could press the keypad to enter the password, a hippie opened the door from the inside and excited the studio.
Oh. You guys are not pizza delivery men.
The music engineer Leo muttered while being completely high from the marijuana he was smoking.
Or, are you the pizza store owners? I'm starving. Where's the pizza? I gazed contemptuously at Leo and said, You're so high that you can't even recognize your boss? No. My boss is a sassy little man.
Not a sassy little pizza store owner, a wimpy ginger, and a large red balloon.
Hey! No one calls my husband a balloon, Mitchell said defensively. Cam patted Mitchell's shoulder and said to him, Mitchell, there's a red balloon floating right behind me. But it's good to know what you are thinking about.
Mitchell realized he had fucked up, and he turned toward Leo in contempt.
You know what? You're fired. You're not my boss? Leo said in puzzlement. Yeah. I'm his boss, I said to Mitchell before turning to Leo. Also, you are fired.
Please leave the premise now, or I will call the cops on you.
Try me. The boss will come and bail me out, Leo said in confidence.
I became frustrated and I yelled at him, I am your
boss. Edward POV. Ugh. How long did I sleep?
Finally waking up from my nap, I checked my watch and found out it was almost 12 o'clock. I was woken up by the commotion that was happening in front of the studio, and walked right toward it after exiting the car. Pepper was yelling at the sound engineer that was as high as a kite while Cam was keeping Lily far away from the conflict despite his instinct telling him to stay there.
Leo saw me and ran slightly towards me before saying, "Boss. These people want to fire me for ordering pizza." Oh, can someone please explain this to me? You're the sassy little man? I thought, definitely, that he meant Pepper. Mitchell said in embarrassment.
Pepper was still angry and I was put between a rock and a hard place with this whole situation.
But through some convincing and sweet talk, I managed to convince Pepper to let go of his resentment towards Leo.
It couldn't be helped that he didn't recognize the owner as we were only here 2 times before. As I didn't have a lot of free time, I worked diligently to complete 2 songs before lunch. Together with the songs I had previously recorded, I had 7 songs registered for my album. The 2 songs I did were Amnesia and Photograph, and I completely took over Leo's job for sound synthesizing and editing, but he was still needed as he was the only one who understood the equipment other than me.
See?
Even if I did fire him, it wouldn't have made a difference.
Pepper said in annoyance as we had Subway sandwiches for lunch today.
I noticed that Pepper was struggling financially the minute he brought the food into the recording studio. There was no way that Pepper would eat anything from a fast food franchise if he had other options.
Yeah.
But we're paying him an average salary straight from the 70s.
So it doesn't matter much.
I turned to Leo, who was eating his pizza sloppily at the next table. He smiled innocently at me and I returned the smile before turning back to Pepper.
Enough about him. This topic only stressed me out. I finally found a director for the music video.
He'll come here together with the Twilight producers,
Pepper said.
The Temple Hill Entertainment Maverick production wanted to settle the song agreement earlier for 2 is better than 1, and for It Will Rain. All of the production cost for these music videos would be completely covered by them as they wanted to release the song as soon as possible in order to help the marketing campaign for the next Twilight movie. From costume to staging, all of it would be handled by their production company, so I would just have to be there on time to film it. The music video would include scenes from the movie, therefore I didn't have to do much, unlike for my other songs where I would need to play my role as the singer in within the story.
Sure.
I'll try to finish a few more songs before that, I muttered in a casual tone.
Ed. What happened to your game? Why is your name blowing up on the internet right now? Cam suddenly walked into the break room while holding Lily in his arms.
The moment Lily saw me, she automatically reached her tiny arms out to ask me to pick her up. Cam let out a sad whimper as he noticed that Lily still liked me more than him.
I don't know. Let me call Alex. She's the only one with access to my computer, I said as I took out my phone. The call rang just for 2 seconds before Alex picked up the phone. Hello? It's C Crazy. Something really crazy happened,
Alex shouted with intense excitement the second she picked up the phone. I put her on a loudspeaker and Mitchell ran lightly to the break room to listen too.
What happened? I asked her in confusion.
Since I was totally in the dark of the whole situation as I had to keep all of my focus on recording.
Did the game fail?
Cam gave me a side eye, but then he realized that I was asking the question seriously. He said hurriedly, "Ed, believe in yourself more.
Your game is trending." I'm sorry, what? Third-person POV? Audience reaction.
Lily, the president of Edward Newgate's official fan club, had made sure that all other members of the club downloaded the game at the time of the launch to show support for the artist. Her curly blonde hair was hidden by the hood from the hooded sweater she was wearing, and her rectangular glasses framed her face perfectly.
How are the downloads looking?
Lily asked using her headset as she sat on her computer table while monitoring the App Store. 10,000 Android, 20.000 Apple.
A manly voice responded to her from the other line. In an hour?
It's okay, but we still need to pump the number up.
Hear that, Rookie? Lily asked.
Wait, Taylor just uploaded a video? A childlike voice called back to her and sent the video link to their group text.
Lily clicked on the link, and her browser was redirected to Taylor's official Facebook page.
The video started with Taylor stealthily recording herself outside a waiting room.
"Wanna see something cool?" she talked to the audience.
Then, she barged into the waiting room, revealing Selena Gomez, and a lot of other Disney label artists were playing the Flappy Bird game obsessively. They were startled by her presence, but they didn't stop playing the game, nor did they even look up from their phone.
Taylor neared her camera to Selena and asked giddily, "What you doing?"
Selena raised her head with a cute, frustrated expression.
"Thinking about cooking a bird today."
The video went viral when Taylor mentioned about the new game, Flappy Bird.
"I knew it. They're a couple." Rookie spoke in excitement.
There's no way Taylor would do this if they weren't dating. Or, they could just be best friends.
"I don't know. I still think we shouldn't put labels on it if they aren't revealing their relationship," the manly voice said. Lily ignored both of them and muttered, "Wait, Disney allowed them to post this? Why?" "I think that's because she didn't advertise the game directly. It also helped in maintaining their star's innocent image, so I think Disney won't cause any trouble," Rookie hypothesized.
Or, they made a deal with Edward.
"We don't know what is happening in the background.
But one thing's for sure, the game will blow up really quickly." Despite her efforts, Lily didn't actually believe that Edward could make a good game, especially after she watched the trailer. It was just a bird jumping around passing hurdles in her opinion. But after playing the game, her first impression was proven wrong. The game was just so addictive for her she couldn't stop playing, and she was sure that most people would feel the same way as her. The best part is the bird's taunts. "I passed 10 hurdles, and it said, 'Is that all you can do?' And here I thought I was the one with the bird brain. I want to roast that bird. Deep fry it. Hot wing sauce it dash." "Shut up, Rookie," the manly voice screamed. "The premium version is better. You can unlock a certain perk after passing 10 hurdles.
I'm already at 50 points now. Wait, why can't I play it anymore?" "Ha! What happened?" Lily asked in concern. "Is the game broken?" "No. The bird is telling me to rest."
He's holding a protest banner and has bandages all over his body.
"I can get back to the game after 20 minutes.
Oh, I guess it's because I have been playing for 2 hours straight."
"Ah, really? He stopped people from playing? Won't it be bad for him?" Rookie asked. "No. I think he made this to stop people from getting addicted,"
Lily replied with a bright smile on her face.
"He's a brilliant man,"
she mumbled while flashing a fanatical glint in her eyes.
"Oh. But I can play a mini-game in between," the manly voice said. "A mini-game?" Lily asked. "There's a few options to choose from.
A baby bird flight test, which is a bit sadistic cause I need to throw the bird from its nest and prevent it from falling to their death, a word guessing game, and a bird feeding game,"
Rookie explained.
The game would soon break the record for the fastest game to reach 100,000 downloads, and would reach 1 million downloads in just 3 days.
"Hey, will he stop singing, if he becomes rich from the game?" Rookie asked, his voice turned a bit lower from the depressing thought. "Nah. He's a bona fide musician. He won't stop singing," the manly voice replied. "Lily, are you there?" "Why, yeah. I'm still here." "Okay, I also think he won't stop singing."
"Wait, did you guys check the credits section of the game?" Lily said as she opened the game on her iPhone. "All of this is basically his solo work," Lily said in excitement. "Our sailor is a genius. Edward POV. 80,000 downloads? Seriously?" I asked while being flabbergasted as I heard Alex's report. "That's only in the Apple Store. You're at 75,000 downloads in the Android store. It's a bit slower there, but the numbers are starting to increase at the same rate as the Apple Store.
Alex said in excitement.
Oh, okay. I replied with a stutter as the game debut had passed through all of my expectations. A few articles had come out about an artist who also moonlighted as a programmer, some criticism about my decision, and some clickbait articles about me and Taylor that contributed to the virality of the game. In my previous life, the game developer used "I will delete the game soon" marketing scheme to make people download the game as fast as they could, but I guess I don't have to follow him on that. I mumbled to myself after hanging up the call with Alex. Only 5 hours after the game was uploaded into the stores, I had received more than $45,000 in net profit after subtracting the platform tax and the server fee for the game. The ads, especially the ads revenue, was pouring into my account. My decision to include the option to watch 30-second ads to decrease the waiting time for 5 minutes was correct. Pepper, we can upgrade the quality of the music video, I said in excitement to Pepper as I jogged lightly towards him. Now that funds had been injected into my accounts, I could decrease the burden on Pepper's shoulders. However, he was adamant about rejecting my help.
I'm the CEO. I need to handle this problem on my own. Also, you don't have to worry.
My mom is an avid Twilight fan. When the music video is released, she won't have a choice but to open up her wallet.
But Pepper,
accepting my help now will make the music video better since we would be able to use higher quality props and effects.
That way, we can get a bigger profit. After some relentless badgering, Pepper finally said in defeat, "Fine. But you're taking a bigger cut after this."
What no?
No debates. Oh boy, you're making me have a headache. I need to sit down far away from you,
Pepper said as he ran away from continuing the discussion.
The film producers arrived at 4 p.m., and after I performed the song "It Will Rain" to them, the producers loved it so much that some of them even tried to hug me afterward.
Of course, my Pepper shield wouldn't let them do that.
Cam didn't mind the Pepper shield and hugged me tightly after hearing the song. Mitchell asked, "This is one of the songs you wrote at the very beginning, right?"
"Yeah. I wrote it 2 years ago," I replied casually despite Mitchell and Cam's over-exaggerated reactions. They gasped and tried to cover their mouth in a dramatic way, but I ignored them and went to play with Lily instead.
"Did you like it, Lily?" I asked as I leaned into her face.
She was still sitting in her car seat at the moment, and kept sucking on a pacifier. "Bah, bah," Lily smacked my cheeks lightly after spitting out the fake nipple and gripped my clothes tightly.
"Bah, but, bed." "Bed?"
I opened my eyes wide when I heard that. Mitch and Cam were frozen, and Pepper was shocked by the baby's first word. "Bed, bed," Lily called out to me many times as she thought she had finally managed to call my name.
Cam cried immediately and said, "She's never even called us Dada before.
Why is he so special?"
Cam leaned his head on his partner's shoulder before Mitchell hugged him and patted his back. "Yeah. Let it all out."
That wraps up this part of What If Karmic Gacha System in Modern Family World.
Thanks so much for listening.
As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well.
See you in the next one.